opposition leader and PNP president, Mark Golding, as the candidate for Northeast St. Andrew. And, even my callers here, other people said, listen, boy, the place has actually have a name change. No longer Barbican Square, but Red Square. That is to describe the magnitude of the function. And for the first time, it seems as if Delroy Chuck, the veteran member of Parliament and Minister of Justice, is in for a real competition there. It has been, people have been talking about over the years that, they have lived in the community and they have not seen a PNP candidate appreciably move about in the constituency. And this time around, they are indeed happy to see that they have an option in the form of Stacey Knight. But with all of that, we saw doing the rounds last week, coming certainly out of the JLP camp, where they posted pictures and videos of KD Knight and a walker, because, of course, I mentioned here that KD fell at home and he suffered a broken leg. As a result of that, he's on a walker. We all know that chairman for life, Bobby Pickersgill, he has been suffering from a back situation for a few years now. However, Bobby is at every single NEC and at all of the major presentation, and there is no way at all in the world that Bobby would miss his friend's daughter presentation last week in Barbican Square. So too, one would never expect KD Knight to miss his daughter's presentation. He probably lived for this and indeed happy to see his daughter enter the fray. But the JLP saw it as a vehicle, and the video was sent to me very early in the piece by my friend and colleague Marlon Morgan, literally ridiculing the People's National Party to have these elderly folks and who may be having some health issues out there. But and said ascribing motive to the PNP as if, boy, they shouldn't do that and so on. But I'll tell you this. The wicked thing would be had the PNP deprived them from being out there. Remember now, these guys, they are not in pain. They haven't lost their minds or anything. They are quite agile, as it were, as much as possible. We know they are not as mobile, but still up and about and up on the curve. This is what they do. They enjoy it. The problem that I have, or the concern that I have, is when you have people who cannot move about, people who are suffering certain, all sorts of issues, and they are still allowed to be there as member of Parliament. And in the case, we can talk about Audley Fitzgerald Shaw, we can talk about Mike Henry, and one would remember even the late Edward Siaga. He wasn't in representational politics, but he had certainly became quite outside of what he used to be. But it is his party, and he was allowed to be out there and so on. This is something that the man was doing for all of his life. So, we have to be careful how we treat our older folks, and this is what happened even within families. Once someone get old, someone suffer some illness, they are kicked to the curb. They are parked in the back room as if they must just stay there and left to dead. Or them say in football term, when you make a particular play, you left them for dead. We can't treat our elderlies that way at all. And, when that emerge out of the JLP camp, persons pounce and say, hold on, don't do that, because here is here are pictures of persons who serve the Jamaica Labour Party with distinction, including my very, very good friend Mike Henry, who have seen better days. So, you know, when you do these things, there are enough to go around in both houses. That said, I want to move quickly to the work that we do here at News Talk 93 FM. Maybe a small outfit. We don't have the kind of staff complements and so on and so forth as other media outfit that do the similar work like us have. However, we punch at a particular weight. Certainly I do. And indeed, story that I broke here last week, Tuesday, breaking news with Senator Lambert Brown, when he gave me that scoop, that breaking news of what he was able, along with his colleague, of course, but he lead the charge as the vice president of the CONFED, the Joint Trade Union Confederation of Jamaica, where they were able to eke out a settlement as it relates to emoluments that is to be paid to the teachers and other public sector workers. And indeed, guess what? This morning, major media houses in Jamaica just carrying this story, just getting this story and had it as their lead story this morning. Of course, the fireman burns, and we deliver that and more as breaking story last week, Tuesday. We also broke the story that from the $1,000 that paid, that is announced rather, in increase and the minimum wage, that from that the government will be raking in excess of $500 million in taxes by virtue of the 2.5% that is taken out of minimum wage earner pay for education tax. Senator Brown had some ideas on that. He believes that, listen, we need to look at that and say that this money is so minuscule in terms of what minimum wage earner gets, so maybe you need to take them out of that band as well. We await that. I'm sure he will raise that and more in the Senate. There's another story, another issue that I also want to mention, but certainly we will carry that as we go through the program. The truth is that we are also in election 2025, and the People's National Party is chomping at the bit. Every single opportunity they got, they have been calling, doubling down and saying that the Prime Minister should call it. We saw Peter Murcott Bunting and his feet in South Manchester yesterday. The General Secretary was there. We saw over there in St. Mary, my friend Omar Newell, and every single person in our chorus saying call it. The Jamaica Labour Party, on the other hand, they are saying that, listen, they are good to go. So if they are good to go, let's see what will happen. That's Conrad's take. Back to Straight Up right here in News Talk 93 FM. My name is Conrad O'Brien. They call me the Fireman. We go up until 12 midday. We continue to broadcast live from the studios of News Talk 93 FM right here at UWI Mona campus. We simulcast with our partners Fit FM, JA.com, and indeed their affiliates, the Wayne Hall Network and affiliates, and also Caribbean Vibe Radio. We're also up on the Make We Talk YouTube channel as well. It's indeed Monday, the 7th day of April 2025. So recent court ruling has sparked significant attention as the government continue to push for Portmore to be recognized as the 15th parish, while many celebrate the move as a step towards greater autonomy and development for the community. The opposition People's National Party raised several concerns, and the PNP has expressed concern over whether the necessary infrastructure and resources will be in place to support the growing population and the increased administrative responsibilities that comes with parish status. All right, without further ado, let me go to my guest, Mr. Fitz-Jackson, who is the Member of Parliament for South St. Catherine, and indeed the Shadow Minister who speaks on matters concerning Portmore. Hi Fitz, how are you doing? Welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning, Mr. O'Brien, and good morning to your listeners.
Indeed, good morning, and good morning on their behalf, sir. How are you doing?
I am well, I am well.
Good.
I was in a meeting in Lakesman last night, which was very, very, very encouraging.
I heard. I received almost blow by blow commentary out of that meeting. I gather that from what you're saying that, listen, it seems as if Portmore is impregnable, and it looked like Three Love is all over the slate over there in Portmore. Is that so?
That is the indication so far, and we intend to keep it that way right up until the election.
Absolutely. Well,
I might add, and beyond.
I wish you all the very best, veteran Member of Parliament Fitz-Jackson, as you continue to do human service for the people of Jamaica. And our eyes are not off this, one of your pet peeve, Fitz, the whole banking situation. And I heard you and Julian and the entire party serve notice that once the people elect the PNP as government, then you certainly will be bringing this back on the other people.
Well, it is on the order paper. Mm-hmm. I have always kept it on the order paper. Mm-hmm. What has not happened is the government has refused to put it on the agenda of a sitting that it can be acted upon. Mm-hmm. And the reason is clear, Conrad. They don't have the courage for it to vote for it, because the banks in whose pockets they will fall out of favor. And they can't afford to vote against it because the people will crucify them. So they have calculated that in their best political interest is just not to allow it to come to a vote. So for 6 years now, it has been sitting on the order paper.
Wow, certainly.
Each parliament, I have retabled it, and it has been on the order paper continuously since then.
Keep up the fight, Fitz. Keep up the fight. The people need that fight. As we remind the listeners.
On that note, too, Conrad, I'll make it abundantly clear. Every single individual who involved in banking activities, every small, micro business operator, medium-sized businesses who are losing thousands and sometimes millions of dollars in excess bank charges over the period in their daily business operations. They have a choice to make. And they can vote for the Jamaica Labour Party to continue to incur those costs, or they can, on this occasion, choose a government that will bring that savings directly to their pocket, not from a disbursement from the consolidated fund by the government, but able to save money in their bank accounts. Simple.
Indeed, Fix, and it's quite instructive that you mentioned that, because my guest immediately after concluding this interview with you at 10:10 is no less a person than the president for the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise, the MSME, Miss Antoinette Antoinette Hamilton. So definitely, she'll be talking to me about situation, raising the budget from the opposition, how this will basically benefit the sector. So that's one that we'll put into her as well. Now, Fitz, let's move quickly in the time that we have allotted for this segment here. Fitz, the Portmore issue, the Portmore being the 15th parish, of course, that continue to have very, very excited discussion going in. From your point of view, Fitz, you're clear that enough consultation have not taken place over there, and so on and so forth. And as a result of that, you're calling on the Jamaica Labour Party to basically the government to really look at this again by way of having consultation. Obviously, the government had gone and a frolic of its own, rather, because using its majority in both the upper and lower house to put that through. Explain to my listeners this morning, Fitz, where are we in Jamaica as it relates to Portmore becoming the 15th parish, based on what came out of the courts, etc.?
That it would be a waste of time trying to encourage or beseech the government to have more consultation. We are past that stage now.
Yes.
We are past that stage because they have gone through the steps to make it into law. They passed through the two levels of the House.
Yes.
They have gone to have it assented. There are basically 4 or 5 steps necessary for it to become in action that has been completed by the government. So they don't want to hear from anybody. They have already decided what they are going to do.
Mind made up.
Sorry?
Mind made up.
Mind made up, exactly. That said, and that being the case, the question is, what do we do next? There are 2 issues subsequently. One, we are contending that the manner in which they are doing it, which have an inherent ill intent, is in breach of the Constitution. In other words, the Constitution says you can't bring a law into force that will cause a constituency to span 2 parishes. That's a clear breach if it would come into effect. And that was what we went to court about. We did not go to court to say whether enough consultation was made or not. We're not leaving. That's not a decision for the court. That's not a legal matter. That's a question of principle, and that's a question of democratic practices, which is not the remit of the court in that regard. In that regard. So what we asked the court to do, they have made a decision which we are quite happy with and in keeping with what we wanted from the court, for the government not to proceed to bring it into force without compliance with the Constitution on that point I raised. So the court has ruled on that, and the government is taking steps to do that.
Good.
You would have heard of the Boundary Committee of Parliament that met a week ago and formally referred the matter to the ECJ to design the constituency boundaries in such a way that the Constitution is not breached.
Good. So what?
On that point, the ECJ, from as early as late as February 12th this year, wrote to the Parliament highlighting the consequential breach that will occur should the law come into effect. And by the way, the Parliament nor the Minister have not responded to any of the correspondence from the ECJ on that matter. The ECJ indicated that the boundaries as proposed for the parish, which the Parliament has the authority to establish the parish, but they have to do it in conformity with the Constitution.
Indeed.
You can't just do it arbitrarily, right? And at your convenience. The exercise for it to come in compliance with the Constitution is an exercise that will take them well over 1 year. That's on one ground. 1 year because the boundaries will impact 4 constituencies altogether.
Yes.
it will impact 13 divisions. That's parish council divisions. And it will impact 398 polling divisions.
Wow.
Altogether.
So,
and the extensiveness of the exercise is the basis on which they have made that projection of over 1 year.
Go ahead.
Now, that advice or notification to the Parliament of Jamaica, to the Ministry of Local Government, everybody will take it that was a professional advice.
Yes.
That wasn't a willy-nilly, I think. That is an advice given based on the experience of the ECJ in carrying out similar exercises in the past. And all that is required for it to be technically sound and to adhere to the democratic practices. And by this I mean the necessary consultation across party lines where boundaries are being affected. Because the setting of boundaries is not a mere arithmetic or geographic exercise. It is one that involves consultation across the political divide, constituency by constituency, party by party. That is the matter of fact. Over the past 45 years, that has been the modus operandi, which has, by the way, served us very well. That other countries are modeling what we do. Now, if the EOJ would attempt to complete the exercise in less than half the time, it would bring into question the integrity of the ECJ in its advice that it gives. That's why I made the point earlier on that the advice they gave was a professional advice.
And not willy-nilly.
Advice being given to the Parliament of Jamaica.
Yes. And by extension, the people of Jamaica.
And the people of Jamaica, thank you. That said, it is impossible for that to be changes to occur before the election. What you must also bear in mind, not until the law comes into force, Portmore is not a parish.
Good. That's my understanding.
It is not. It is proposed.
Absolutely.
And steps are being taken to be some completed and some incomplete to make it into a parish. But Portmore is not a parish and only a proposed parish.
Absolutely, and that's why I did my preamble in coming to you that way.
Yeah. All of that said. Oh, by the way, in the submission we made before the court that caused that order to be issued, there are a number of other constitutional issues that we raised that the court is to rule on in respect of the legislation. One of which is the act. It's now an act, not a bill anymore. It has been passed and signed by the GG. The act, if coming to force, will breach other provisions of the Constitution in the Charter of Rights, where a democratically elected office of the direct mayor is terminated. No act can terminate a constitutional provision.
So MP Jackson,
in our submission.
MP Jackson, based on what you're saying to my listeners this morning, this situation in getting Portmore to becoming the 15th parish is fraught with unconstitutional breaches. Yes.
Wow. So one off, not the one of them is the basis on which the order was issued that they can't bring the law into force, which is the constituency boundary spanning two parishes. It's one off, but not all. So we are waiting for a date for the full submission, including the latter one I mentioned, to be heard.
Good. And
so the act is flawed on a number of bases, and by extension could not cause the parish to come into being. But most importantly, we have served notice in the Parliament, outside of Parliament, and I renewed it in Lakespen last night.
Yes, and you're doing so now, and News Talk with yours truly, Conrad O'Brien. Go ahead.
when we form the government after the next election, the act that is in place now will be repealed.
And
So
from
it will go no further.
good, and obviously, we will go to we're going to the poll long before that 1 year plus time frame there. Mr.
But
Jackson.
on the question of whether or not Portmore become a parish, whether we have direct election of mayor, it's a matter that we are prepared to, and we will put before the people of Portmore and St. Catherine. And I go further too, Conrad. I sincerely believe, this is my personal view, and I've been advancing it amongst my colleagues in the opposition, to change Jamaica from a 14 parish arrangement to a 15 parish is that a matter that relates to Portmore and St. Catherine alone. It's all of Jamaica. And then when you talk about consultation to create a new parish, it can't be it's just St. Catherine and Portmore alone.
You'd have to
We're
look
changing the configuration of Jamaica. We could limit the consultation to St. Catherine and Portmore as it relates to changes within St. Catherine, as we currently have now, and what happened when we were creating a municipality in Portmore, because it was an intra-parish change and not an inter-parish change.
Good. So Fitz, what I'm getting from you is that at the heart of all of these things are consultation with the people. It's not that you're saying that, listen, this is cast in stone and cannot happen or should not happen, but a major part of it is consultation and go about doing it the right way.
And I go a little bit further than consultation. Consultation and approval.
Yes, indeed.
Because you can consult,
Yes.
and the people say don't do this, but you go and do something else.
Absolutely.
So it's not just consultation, it's consultation, buy-in, and agreement.
You're so correct, Mr. Jackson. My listeners, Mr. Jackson, have basically blazed my phone over the weekend, and one of the reasons for that is they want to get. I understand, but I'm going to allow you to explain this to my listeners. They will ask a question with the coming out of the House Speaker, where she said that, listen, the ECJ will come back by the ending of, is it the ending of May or thereabout? And also the information that, listen, the ECJ, this is coming from the AG now, that the ECJ only advise, but the Parliament basically has the ultimate responsibility. Explain what that is in a nutshell to our listeners, Fitz.
Okay, before I give you the answer, there's a letter that I wrote to the editor, further to a wonderful editorial a couple of days ago. You probably should read the Gleaner today. The letter I wrote is published.
Yes, I'll go into it in my paper review. Have it right here.
Yes. But simply, what the Attorney General said is true, factual. Since 1979, when the ECJ was created, it was set up to advise on the conduct of elections in Jamaica, including the setting of boundaries, to move it out of the political realm into an independent body as it is constituted and signed off on by both political parties. So that one entity would facilitate the input from both political sides, and reaching a consensus, then it comes for the Parliament for formal adoption. So what they said is that the Parliament makes final decisions, the Parliament of the land, and it can change anything that comes to it. However, we now have a 45-year convention, 45 years convention, where the recommendations on constituency boundaries and other related activities for elections are approved by the Parliament. So what the AG said is correct. The question is whether the government is prepared to overturn that convention that existed in order to gerrymander the boundaries of some constituencies. That it can make that decision. But we all will believe that that convention will be respected, will be preserved, and it will be honored. And that's what the editorial of the Cleaner made, which I fully endorse and further endorse in the letter that I wrote to the editor, and really appeal to the Attorney General to ask them the question: are you prepared to put your own professional and personal integrity on the line for what is expedient for one political party or the other? Or is it that you are going to act in such a way to protect that which is in the best interest of Jamaica and the Jamaican people?
Indeed. And we certainly commend this article, editorial piece in the Gleaner today to all our listeners. Right here, Fitz, with your name, Fitz Jackson, Member of Parliament, South St. Catherine. All right, so we commend that to our listeners. So move to what is it that they should be coming back? And I know you actually said that in your overall conversation, but just to be specific. So that the ECJ will come back to the Parliament with, or to the Speaker. Tell us what the
decision of the committee, and it's interesting that you raised this, because since Friday there have been some serious developments.
Yes.
That the public might not even be aware of. When we met last week, Tuesday, the decision of the committee was for the matter of the ECJ to respond to and act upon the court's decision was formally made. So copies of the map that accompanied the bill, the act that was passed, and the court decision was conveyed, handed over to the ECJ. One. Two, the committee requested of the ECJ to provide an update, and I underscore in capital bold letters, to provide an update on the exercise that they have now embarked upon on or before the 31st of May this year. That was the decision of the committee. However,
yes,
I got an email on Friday.
Yes.
From the clerk to the committee, setting a meeting for the 16th of this month for that update to occur and for a report to be made to the committee by the 31st of May. The committee never asked at its meeting for any report by the 31st of May. It asked for an update.
An update.
So between the Speaker and the clerk, they have gone beyond the provisions of the standing order to now instructing the ECJ to give a report on the 31st.
That sounds quite troubling, Fitz. I'm sure
it is not troubling. It is worrying. It is ominous. What the Speaker, the Chairman of the committee, God, that email could not have gone out without the Speaker's approval. Who chairs the committee? What the Speaker and the Chairman of the committee is seeking to do is to instruct the ECJ.
You know, we pride ourselves here as basically giving the factual information. Just last week, Tuesday, we had some breaking information with Senator Lambert Brown. Suffice it to say that is this morning we heard it, and major news outfit. So we do the business here, and now you're hearing from the Member of Parliament for South St. Catherine, MP Fitz Jackson, as to some very worrying development as it relates to what seems to be instruction in a collaboration from the Speaker of the House and indeed the Chair of the committee, Fitz?
The Speaker is the Chair of the committee.
The Speaker is the Chair, and the Clerk of the House.
And the clerk of the committee.
Of the committee, I'm sorry, yes.
Yes. Or rather, should I say the Secretary to the committee? I stand corrected on that. That is very troubling.
Yes.
That is very troubling. And we are not going to allow them to get away with this backdoor chikini. You know, this government have have a penchant for improper and illegal behavior, you know. They have demonstrated that. How can the committee meet in open, take a decision, and behind the back of the committee, they are proceeding to give other instructions? I have written to the committee after a copy of the report and minutes of the last meeting of that committee. I never got it at the last meeting. And I have written to the clerk, asked them to say, the secretary, have you found it yet? Only to be told that I can't get it until the committee meets. But yet the committee is getting up and giving instructions behind, rather the chairman is going behind the committee back to give instructions to the ECJ.
Indeed, Fitz. Thanks.
That is the level of improper conduct that is taking place in the Parliament.
Thanks a lot, MP Jackson. Up on time. Very, very interesting information. All the best. So you heard it here. Very, very interesting development there. Let's go to the 10 o'clock break. So come. Right, so our guest is online. And our guest this morning, our spotlight guest this morning is none other than, should I still describe her as the newly minted president of the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise, the MSME, and that, of course, is Antoinette Hamilton. Hi, Miss President Hamilton. How are you doing, ma'am? Oh, okay. We lost her there. We're trying to connect with Orbit. Abo, if you please just text the information and we'll get that done. All right, it's a little bit troubling here to maneuver as we go. All right, remember that this is live radio, so we have to do things in a professional way, so just work with me. All right, so my guest in line this morning is, I was saying, wonder if I should still refer to her as the newly minted president for the micro, small, and medium-sized business, the MSME Alliance. So let me go to Miss Hamilton. Hi, Miss Hamilton. How are you doing? Welcome, ma'am.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners. Thank you for having us.
Indeed, you're most welcome, and good morning on their behalf as well.
Well, I'm no longer as new. I'm in my fifth month.
Fifth month.
Fifth, yeah.
You know that people still tell people Happy New Year up until about the middle of the year. So well, I haven't had the opportunity on air to congratulate you, in terms of attaining this high office, and very, very challenging one, of course, because we all know that the world over, the real middle, the centerpiece of an economy is really our small, micro, and medium-sized enterprises. So you're thrust with an enormous responsibility, Ms. Hamilton.
Yes. Yes, definitely. We are considered the backbone of most economies. It's not just unique to Jamaica, because of our ability to reach, all areas, all corners of our society, areas that the larger entities would not necessarily be able to reach because of, economies of scale and, whether business sense. So
good. And also the fact that you're the major employer in the country, in all country, really, the bulk of the employment tends to come from that sector. You may have the large business that employ a certain number, but when you break it out, the majority of people are really employed in your sector.
Indeed. So we employ over 80% of the employed persons in Jamaica. So that's a significant number of persons. And one of the challenges we do face, though, is that in terms of the livable wage, as small business, we do sometimes struggle to adequately pay our staff because of the numerous challenges that we face as small business just to survive. So sometimes, we have to think about the option of whether we keep a staff or pay the rent for the office space or pay the taxes, and most times we choose to keep the staff, not necessarily on the basis that, yes, we want to not pay them sufficiently, but the conditions for business to grow and survive, it's not really strong, and so sometimes we don't have a choice. So while we do contribute significantly to employment in Jamaica, we do recognize that our employees do deserve much more. However, the economic conditions as they stand right now are not conducive for that type of growth that will allow small businesses to really up the salaries in most cases of our employees.
Interested there, because, and what you're also getting is a lot of attrition out of the people opting out of the work world, because when you talk about the $15,000, while I understand the point you made, but the truth is that the $15,000, a lot of people who are working there saying that, listen, they have to be subsidizing the business by way of getting additional money just to pay transportation costs and to buy lunch. That is how paltry the $15,000 is.
Absolutely, and we do sympathize with those persons who are in that bracket. It is really hard and difficult out there. Sometimes I wonder, as a business owner myself, how they survive. So we definitely need, to address that. And that is why, as the MSME Alliance, we try to promote entrepreneurship, because while you can have a permanent job, which is fine, it's important in this economic climate that you have another source of income as well.
Good.
And so entrepreneurship is something that we strongly promote, and that is, the policies around owning your business, having another source of income. That is something that we have been pushing. Not to say to leave your 9 to 5, but make sure that you have something to complement that, because we know that the minimum wage is not much. It is really not livable.
Good. All right. President Hamilton, recently we saw the conclusion of the budget for 2025-26. I'm going to zero in primarily on the opposition presentation, and my reason for that is that you would have seen 9 years of this administration, and certainly you have a lot of challenges still. The opposition put forward a number of things, chief among them, which I know is something that hit your bottom line in a big way to operate: energy. The opposition speak ad nauseum that when they were in power, for example, when they were in government, the price for electricity was 24 US cents per kilowatt hour. We are now seeing it in some cases where it's over 50 cents. They have now, through their point person, Philip Paulwell, they said that, listen, that will be a pet peeve of theirs to bring back down the cost of electricity. How would that resonate to start with your sector?
Well, majority of our members, they do have businesses in terms of office space, factory space. They do utilize electricity in their business, and electricity is sometimes the second largest
component,
probably the third largest cost for a business, apart from the rent and the payroll. And so it is a strain on small businesses when they see the light bill for their business to say, okay, we're paying 50,000, 60,000, 25,000, especially for a small business. That's a lot of money. And you're not talking about water bill, you're not talking about the payroll, you're not talking about the rent and all the other office expenses that you have to incur as a small business to just stay alive and contribute to economic development. Because sometimes we forget that when a small business employs 2 or 3 persons, when you multiply that across the 400,000 plus MSMEs that are in Jamaica, that's a lot. And so it is the little bit that we do that makes the big difference.
The
and
multiplying
that is why
factor.
We have been, right. That is why we have been advocating for more favorable business environment for our MSMEs. When we look at the two budgets, indeed, the opposition budget presented most of the things that we would have been advocating for. Bear in mind that we spoke with both political parties in terms of the initiatives that we deem would be best suited for us in terms of moving us forward. One of which is the removal of the DBJ fees and rolling it up into the loan. That is being done, and that is something that we would have pushed. The opposition would have endorsed it, and then we see where the governing party would have now implemented it with the assistance of DBJ. So those are the things that we are pushing for. Another thing that we have been asking for is to give new businesses some breathing space, give entrepreneurs the ability to survive their 2 to 3 years of existence. And we see where that initiative, which is the 2-year tax exemption on corporate income tax, that was a commitment that the opposition made that they would give small businesses. What that does is that it promotes entrepreneurship, one, because there is not this tax burden that persons will feel when they start a business. In fact, the money that they probably would have been used to say pay taxes, which sometimes is not even much because most of them don't even make profits in their first 1 or 2 years. They can reinvest that in their business. It will also promote formalization of businesses because a lot of businesses stay out of the formal system because of this huge tax burden or perception. And it's really a combination of a lack of education. But this particular initiative will help to bring those that are not in the formal system into the formal system because they wouldn't have this burden over their head to say, okay, if I make a $2 million for a year, I'm going to be paying $125,000 in tax, right? Or if I make $3 million, I'm going to pay X amount in tax. And bear in mind also, Conrad, that these are the same MSMEs that can't access the commercial banking system. So they don't have any other source of financing than their own personal income, personal funds, right, as well as that which the business generates. Because the banking system, most of them, they require at least 2 years of activity, 2 years financial statement. So you can imagine you're in your first year, your year and a half, you're struggling and you need some financing. You can't go to the commercial banking system.
Wow.
So if it is that persons can have the little extra money that they would have been using to pay the taxes to become compliant, to just reinvest in their business, it's not a lot. But that perception alone, sometimes, Conrad, is what prevents persons from coming into the formal system. The first thing they'll say to you, and I'm a chartered accountant, when they come to you, is that, Miss Hamilton, I don't want to pay a lot of taxes. I said to them, look, sometimes you don't. When you file your tax return, doesn't mean that you're going to pay tax, right? But, and even, it may be a little bit, because we know the tax deductions and credits that you can claim. However, there's this perception, this burden out there that the taxman, in quotation, is going to take away my money, my small money, and so they stay out of the system. What we want with this initiative is for them to come into the system because we're removing this tax burden. If you make any profit at all within your first 3 years, you pay no taxes on it. The government will still get tax revenue from payroll taxes because MSMEs are the largest employers. And they will also get tax revenue from GCT because once persons are employed, they will have disposable income. They'll go to the supermarket and they will pick up items that attract GCT. And so that's the way in which the government will get back some of that money. But we need initiatives that are growth focused, and I believe that this particular one, which the opposition endorsed and have made a commitment to, is something that can really move this economy, which is pretty much stagnant right now.
Good. President Hamilton, one of the issues that certainly hit us is the whole business of housing for your worker in your sector, people having difficulty. There's another centerpiece of the opposition proposal, the rent to own, rent to purchase and so on, and how they will basically desist from taking the 10.5 or 11.5 billion per year from the housing trust. How beneficial could that be for you people who work within your sector, and to actually drive economic growth, as it were, because people feeling more comfortable and so on, the productivity level could basically improve, which we are suffering from at the moment here in Jamaica?
Well, I will tell you, I'm actually on my way to present at the National Association of Hairdressers and Cosmetologists.
Yes.
These are very small business owners. They aspire to own a home, right? And so one of the challenges that they face is that they can't find any affordable housing in Jamaica. The housing cost ranges between 18 million to 30 million. And it's quite difficult for them to even find something on the secondary market. And so it is very important that the commitment to affordable housing is placed front and center, because a lot of our small businesses are being priced out of owning a home. And this is something that most Jamaicans aspire to. And if it is that they feel that owning a home is out of their reach, what that means is that you have a demotivated society, low productivity. They'll just say, like, okay, I'm comfortable here, and they'll just stay where they are without trying to grow.
Good. There's another sector that the opposition zeroed in on, and I know my friend Colin Bell, who will speak on that sector. He is the deputy spokesperson and the creative the creative. Oh gosh, what's his title again? But the creative sector, to do with entertainment and so on. That would basically fall in your remit as well, because you have small content creators, you have people of all sorts seeing this as new opportunities and so on. The government today would be seeding this industry with $1 billion. How does that resonate?
The government.
I'm sorry, not the government, the opposition. The opposition, rather. Right. The opposition, I'm sorry.
Well, Jamaica is a very creative, have a very good set of creative people. We don't have to mention how creative we are in terms of the different fields. In terms of even people talk about and people bash content creators on Instagram and TikTok and so forth. What these persons are doing is bringing foreign exchange into our country. People don't realize that. Because most times the persons who support them are not really Jamaicans. These are Americans and countries. So they are in fact bringing in foreign exchange into our country, which we need, especially at this time, given what is happening in the U.S., right? So I would say that this initiative is well overdue. As our creative industry,
I'm losing you a bit, Antoinette. Hello?
Hear me?
You're dropping. You're traveling?
I'm good.
Antoinette?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead now. Go ahead.
Right. So we're not just talkers that.
Wow. You're coming in and out, Antoinette. I don't know if you're traveling or something, but you're coming.
I think I'm in a spot. Give me 60 seconds.
All right, listen, Antoinette, we're up on the 10:30 break. I'm going to take you for about 5 minutes on the other side. So let's go to the commercial break and we will get back to you. Just hold the line. All right? Please.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
So we're talking to Antoinette Hamilton, the president of the MSME. All right, so come back we talk YouTube channel as well, and also on Conrad OB TikTok page. So lots of offering there. We're into a discussion with the president for the for the small and medium-sized enterprise, MSME Alliance, and her name is Antoinette Hamilton, and you would have heard from her. She shared with us that she is a chartered accountant, and she is doing the rounds. As a matter of fact, as we speak, she's on her way to address the Hairdressers Association, a very, very active group. Those are who keep our ladies, and indeed a lot of our men looking spiffy, because of course that a lot of the brothers are wearing lock hair these days and so on and so forth. So gone are the days when you'd go to a salon and it's just female there. There are also women there, and the nail techs and so on. We guys, we like to go and get our feet and our hands look after and get a little facial here and there. You have to keep spiffy and attractive for the ladies. Antoinette?
Yes, definitely. I agree.
I'm sure you kind of like that, Antoinette.
I love that. At least that's the National Association of Hairdressers and Cosmetologists. They are a member of the MSME Alliance. We do also have associations that are members, as well as individual businesses that are members. So yes, that's free promo. Thank you.
Yes, I'll be talking to you. I need to have a sit down with you. So we will definitely be talking. All right?
Yes.
We'll be talking.
Okay.
Antoinette, you were talking about how important it is for accommodation, and the difficulty that the people within the sector faces to to get livable accommodation and so on and so forth, which can be such a deterrent for productivity. So you say you're quite happy with what you hear coming out of the opposition in terms of all their plans with housing.
Yes. In contrast, yes, I believe that there are good points on both sides.
That's what I wanted to.
However, yeah, there are good points. So, for example, increasing the threshold to be able to access up to 14, that's good, but we have to get the affordable housing. But what is more important on the opposition side is that the upfront access. So, for example, assisting with the deposit for young people, being able to build affordable housing, because
remove the land aspect from it and so on,
the rent to own. A lot of hairdressers would be interested in that, and that is why I particularly mentioned that, because they are not as formalized as other industries, and so
the pay slip and so on,
they don't have that. The financial statements, they don't have that, and that is something we're going to be talking to them about today in my presentation.
Yes.
However, as it stands now, they don't have no pay slip. They sometimes even don't have a business bank account. Right? They don't have the financial statements to go and access the loan from the commercial system, or even from the NHT, the debt service ratio, which the opposition spoke about increasing from 35% to 40%. That will allow more people to qualify.
Yes.
So we're talking about the rent to own. And that is something that would resonate with hairdressers, barbers, and cosmetologists who really don't have the formalization that
the fruit vendors even,
Yes, the vendors. Just about any business owner that operates, but doesn't have the capacity to operate in a very formal system, because it costs to be formalized. There's no doubt about that, right? And so there are persons who can't afford the cost of formalization, and so those persons would be able to access the NHC, which they have been contributing to, And that's a hope for them.
And there's also, and even outside of contributing to the NHT, once the proposal is that once you're paying for say 6 months, then you would basically create that level of form of qualification, as it were.
Yes, so you'd have to contribute first, and then once you get the rent to own and you show the commitment that you're paying for 6 months, it shows your credit worthiness.
Okay.
Then you can now formalize the application process to get the house.
Okay.
I think that is brilliant. Additionally, the young professionals who want to own a home, coming up with that $500,000 or that $1 billion, it's difficult.
Boy,
So the $500,000 deposit, a lot of young people would be happy to hear that, especially those that have children very early together, and they want to find a house that can live in. Two of them coming together, that's $1 million in deposit. They can own a home. May not be the ideal home, but they have a chance at owning a home.
But Antoinette, boy, for so much, you have gotten so much gift, as it were, out of the opposition presentation. Were you in the room?
Well, the thing is, we would have put forward these things to both parties. The opposition have really listened, and persons ask whether this is just political, and I would say to them, no. They would have drilled us in terms of the tough questions. How will this work? Wouldn't it cost the government? How will the government get back money? And all of that was. So
you had a real consultation
real conversation with both of them. Real tough conversation. There are things that we would have also proposed that they said that no, we're not going to be doing this. We would not do that one or that one or that. But we think this one it can work, right? Because we saying and we will assess. We can.
All right, certain.
They would have.
Yes, Antoinette, sorry. Finish your thought as we wrap.
Right, so it was good to see that the opposition came with the solutions that we the persons who are on the ground that knows what worked best for us, are telling them that would work.
Well, let's see. The election is certainly due, contrary to what pop up in the public domain recently. The election is actually due by September, I think the 3rd of September. So let's see if how this one will go. If people will basically vote in their interest to accommodate these things, or what will happen. It's a democracy, and of course we can only encourage people to go to the poll, but we can't say to them that, listen, go vote yes or go vote this. So we can't hold their hands. All right, we can do it in our own private discourse, but for purpose like this, we have to leave it open-ended.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Antoinette, and we'll be in touch. All right? Enjoy, and I hope you'll have a lovely presentation with the beautiful ladies who are in the sector today. All right?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Tell them hi for me.
Yes, thank you.
All right? Good. Invite them to listen to me, Conrad O'Brien, the fireman, right here in News Talk, Mondays and Tuesdays from 9 until 12. And you can join my colleagues as well. All right? Okay, good. Bye-bye. So that's Antoinette there, Antoinette Hamilton, indeed the president for the the micro, small, and medium-sized business. All right, so you heard it there, and certainly while she said that, they had consultation with both government and opposition, but she thinks that, certainly at this point, the opposition is indeed way out in front as it relates to offering that they have served up in their presentation for the sector that she represents. All right, so all in all, that must be music to the ears of the opposition, because you have a lot of people who are in those sectors, and of course they have family members as well. The phone lines are now open. Let's see if we can take a couple of your calls. 876-212-9824 and 876-462-0919. The Gleaner is reporting this morning on its front page, Grand Slam for tourism. All right, Kingston, and a winning streak as sporting cultural events reignite flame of interest in capital as destination. Indeed, that is massive information coming out, and we're seeing a picture here of the president for the Jamaica Teachers Association. Massive win for teachers, and that we talked about earlier, where the Teachers Association has reached an agreement with the Ministry of Finance and Public Service for service to disburse retroactive increment at the end of the month. Of course, the Gleaner and the other news outfit, they're picking it up this morning. We brought the story here from last week, Tuesday, with Senator Lambert Brown, who played a lead role from the Joint Trade Union Congress and this one. All right, so we punch heavy. Hello, welcome, caller.
Morning, Mr. Brian.
Hi, how you doing, Marshy? Good. You share with me elsewhere a particular event, so I know you have been mourning for the last few days. I hope you're getting yourself together.
Yeah, man. As a matter of fact, I just done talk to one of the family members, you know.
All right.
Getting things together.
And Jeffrey, that you talk to from time to time?
I am going to talk to him.
He lost his father.
I tell him. Well, if he's listening now, you know,
yes.
My condolences to you, Jeffrey. Stay strong. I am fatherless, but I don't know what it is to lose a father, because my father passed on when I was a baby, so I don't know nothing.
Okay.
But I can only imagine. So
Indeed.
Stay strong, Jeffrey.
Indeed.
Yeah. Now, you know, somebody said to me a few days ago that I should leave Marlon Morgan alone because I'm too blunt when I'm talking to him and I try to rough him up. So when next I talk to him, I go and just take it easy and make him have his way. But Marlon need to understand that people feeling the pangs of hell out here. It's not as he's saying. Because I'm trying to make it look good, but he remind me of when I was small. My mother was so stupid too. When she beat me, you know, and then put on a lick on my bar and said, no, dear, stop in eyes. Woof. No, dear, stop in eyes. You know?
And then she brutalized you. Well, I'll just say this one thing in it.
Yes.
Marlon and my brethren, and we're all good, you know. We have our rumbles and so on, you know. Two big men in the room, and of course we have different ideas.
Yeah,
the truth is that Marlon is basically a part of the government, and at the minute the government finds itself in quite a bit of pickle. If you just heard the interview with the president for the Small Business Association there, you know, and you would have heard her basically extrapolate from the opposition presentation and say there's just so much things in it for the masses. When Marlon hear that now, Marlon is saying, my God, the whole of the hairdressers and barbers, them and small business people are going to vote PNP because there's so much in it for them. He don't want to hear that.
But listen, Marlon really must understand, you see, that all politics is local. You see, all way him go around and attack, even somehow who are jump up and follow him, when them go supermarket, you know.
Yeah, give me some top up on the screen here.
Our next argument, you hear this, you know.
Yes.
So Marlon must understand that, the things must still like way matter, but we up on the ground and we feel it. But that is enough for you, Marlon. Take it easy. You just have to way off it. That's your
man. So make a real point now.
Yes.
You spend a lot of time on the brethren.
Now, you know, PJ Patterson came out a few days ago and said something, and Bradley Avenue then criticized the PNP, said the PNP in trouble because they have to draw back for PJ Patterson on the campaign trail. Now they are lying. PJ is not on the campaign trail. They just lie. Them people just lie from Bradley Avenue. PJ just come and make some points, and I was around, and I was...
And it is his right to do. PJ, the former Prime Minister and former President of the PNP, and he's in his right mind. He is active active. So what if him want to go on campaign trail?
Right.
So too,
But
if Bruce Golden want to come out on the campaign trail, which he has done, he
But him come
actively
out and say something, and them not say nothing. Is only the half with from down a southwest, from down a southwest St. Catherine. That half with that alone come out and cut Bruce Golden. When Bruce Golden talk with it, you understand? Right? The people see out and people know what going on.
Yes.
But now, when Bradley Avenue did criticize PJ Patterson, I can understand very well. I can understand very well why Bradley Avenue come out and cuss him. And when KD Knight went to his daughter campaign land, a heavy duty truck is passing my way. Wow. That's what my gate. I think you can hear a rumbling in the background.
Yes.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I can understand when they come out. I can understand why Nationwide came out and criticized PJ Patterson. And when KD Knight go to his daughter campaign launch, you know, when they present her to be the candidate. All right. I know why Nationwide criticized KD Knight. And a lot of people in Jamaica maybe don't know it. That KD Knight, PJ Patterson, Nationwide have some personal vendetta against those two men. And I'm going to remind Jamaica why. There was a plane coming from Cuba. So I think some digital people was on the flight. They got to do business.
Yes.
And PJ Patterson happened to be on the flight. And it happened that Cliffy was here, the argument, and him run like when a man a run from beating and run, come out contacts a PJ Patterson carrying illegal money from Cuba. Come at Jamaica. Right?
Yes.
And PJ lick a lawsuit on them. Cost them millions of dollars.
Yeah, I think between 12 and 15 million dollars,
Yes.
I was told.
And they have to pay up because they were lying and tell lie on the man. So them have up the PNP and have a PJ Patterson from that. Guess who was the lawyer on the case?
Tell me.
KD Knight.
Oh.
And KD Knight bruised them up. And
Okay.
you know who was one of the witnesses in the case?
Oh.
Emily Crooks and PJ Patterson and KD Knight nasty up. The two of them nasty up Cliff Hughes and Emily Crooks.
So where you say a feelings them a carry?
A feelings. So if you notice what Cliff Hughes will get some little boy, we don't even know, them never even know nothing what go on. Enough of them did all that school and certain things did go on back in the years.
But history there, so them can go revisit history and find out the truth.
You understand? So then get them on, if you notice everything. All right, notice your station. You come with one opinion, you have Marlon with opinion, different opinion. You notice our communication group, they have people with different opinion.
Yes.
You notice down at Bradley Avenue, the whole of them.
Boy, them said that somebody a text me and say, boy, you have to do a test before you get to work there, and you have to declare certain things.
Sure, you lean over the green side before you can get that work.
But rub for my marshal, because I have others.
Yes, so there's some personal feelings. So when you hear them come and lick in the PNP, I vex them back, but I don't want to put money with them as spend because then touch the wrong man. Now, there's not when you all right, you said it this morning already. When you talk about whole people and them thing they them like this, them never remember, you know. They never remember say Mike Henry, them a fear holy man a take time lead him on the platform over that and him a still member of Parliament.
You know, it's like I receive a thing from my friend Marlon earlier this morning too. He sent me a message, you know, with KD Knight saying something unflattering about Mark Golden. And I had to respond to him to say, listen, internal campaign have these kind of brews, because I was reminding him also that Delroy Chuck, who is our minister in Andrew Holness' cabinet, said one of the most dastardly thing about Andrew Holness. Audley Shaw also said that Mr. Holness had basically, I don't want to... Yes, and effectively he's saying that Mr. Holness had basically stole the election from him.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
so and said he wasn't worthy. He wasn't worthy as a leader. So all of these things come up. So I think when you have to basically recognize that things are said on both sides, and trust me, I have been around. Internal politics can be much more bruising than even external politics.
But I think the worst of the internal politics, it was when Colonel Charles challenged Edward Seaga.
Attempt to, because he didn't get to do it. To do it.
Not even the arena, he couldn't go in.
Yes,
and he was soundly beaten by some men.
Exactly.
And him outside, and when him out, I walk up and down and said that's a black man time now. And you know what I say it a whole heap of time, I say Colonel Charles is still alive. And I know him not challenge me because I know him here. When I talk about the black man time argument.
Yeah, man, we know it's him Colonel come from. Is it him?
So them come with them whole heap argument.
Yes, I had to remind South St. Catherine the other day and others, that did not start by PJ. It actually started by Colonel Charles. And he suffered a few blows,
Yes. And things them talk about color, PG and then them talk about Mark Golden color. They must remember this one thing. Mark Golden, hold no black man and beat them. Them talk about Edward Seaga. Tell them say Edward Seaga was dead man Mackenzie and trash him good and proper. And hear him with the interview. I say, yes, Edward Seaga beat me. You know, shame for talk.
All right.
Come Marlon, call the program and challenge that Marlon. Come, may I beg you.
In that when come take over my listeners, them I call the time. Listen to you Wednesday. All right, all the best.
All right,
take care.
Good.
All right, so we are coming up to the 10 o'clock break. As we speak, we have about 2 minutes to go to the break. So, I have to call his name on a regular basis. Colin Bell. Colin has been championing how much the creative sector can move Jamaica in an appreciable way. Colin, you need to give me a call. Because when you look at what took place, and I saw Colin, to his credit, I saw Colin out there advocating and saying to Jamaica, go to the stadium, support this event, because this is one of the things that is going to basically change the landscape of Jamaica. And Jamaican humble people from humble beginning who own their skill, their craft, were able to rake in as much as 15 million Jamaican dollars over the 2 days period. So those are the kind of things that happen, and that sports is a part of the creative industry, a part of the creative sector. So Dr. Deborah Hicklin, Colin, Anthony Bell, you guys have your work cut out to move this industry in an appreciable way. And the government that is now in power, certainly, they have a few months by way of this term. We don't know what will happen at the end of play. But it's a sector that we need to look into, all right, in a big way. Let's go to the 10 o'clock break. Suka.
Hi, good morning, Conrad.
Yes, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm not doing bad, man. A couple things here, Conrad.
Yes, John.
Last week, a container of chicken was alleged to wash up on our shores. Something looks funny with this wash up thing here. I'm not saying that containers doesn't fall from ships, but someone who's in the maritime industry told me that containers like those are placed at the bottom of the ship because you have to plug in something in it to keep it frozen. So those containers that now up on top of the ship and we drop off. The next point, that's that container coming in our shoe, in our waters. You have to tell me, say, no fisherman no see it, no coast guard no see it, nobody at all no see it. Yes, what's up our shores, sir? Somebody with a container of guns or drugs. Even if you contact the people and say, well, a chicken night, a police and coast guard should have been there to open that container. That would have great security breach. And we don't want to, because the government tell how much money they spend for coast guard.
Because the question could also be asked, John, were there anything else in that container apart from chicken?
Yes. It's a breach about it. I'm not going to go and say nothing about it.
Yeah, and that's why we have program like these, John, because you as a citizen of Jamaica, you're raising it. So let's see if they will pick up on it.
The Minister of National Security don't say a word. People, look here, it is very troubling.
Yes.
Because bona fide people are saying, I don't know what's up for sure, you know. People are saying, people are speculating because even to the route to Grand Cayman, they say it's going to go. The route, it's not this side of the Grand Cayman route there, you know. The Grand Cayman is on the other side of the island. So people, if you come from this side, see something's wrong. And people are also saying that most containers, if they are containers like that, are full of ice and things. That's what I think.
Well, I'm not an expert on those things, John, but certainly you're raising some pertinent
questions. They have a container while we float. But container, that wasn't around the container. So that container will sink. Something is not right with this container. Or that Elsa, there. Let's pray for a go.
Yes.
You know, it's about time, you see. And me not expect them better. But the Jamaican people are seeing it and people are talking about it. This government does not take responsibility, not at all. Dr. Dad come out and talk about the state of affairs, hospitals. Every single Jamaican who use the hospitals know. You see anybody that talks alone and know about what going on hospitals. Him and Elon, Dr. Elon, my name.
Thompson.
These are the only two people that know what going on hospitals.
I'm disappointed with Elon as a man who still in the system.
Elon sacrifice the name of Elon built up. He must sacrifice it to politics.
Well, the man get a coveted position, one of 20, one of how much in the House there, Senator.
It showed me 8. I'm sure no one said them now keep him because others what am I look more red than him.
All right.
Because he's not delegate to the Andrew.
All right, John. Thanks a lot for today.
But what I'm saying, my brother, is that
yes.
Dr. Dawes, when he was tough time to something, I don't understand. He must talk and say, Dr. Dawes, if you read that patient, you know.
When Dr. Dawes
what was system, people would not put him talk about what is happening. Now again, he must talk about what is happening. So in the business of own power, he must talk about the health of the nation.
And so it should be, John.
And something I really realize, he must big up the man that
yes, have to leave you there though, John. Thanks a lot for today. Big up yourself. All right? Good. All right, so the president of the Adventist World Church president to visit Jamaica for a youth ambassador program. All right, so that's that. And let's continue to take the calls. Hello, welcome caller.
Morning, Conrad.
Hi, morning. How are you doing, Al?
I am giving God thanks, Conrad.
Yeah, man.
Jamaica is at a crossroads. A very consequential election coming up. And Jamaica finds itself at a crossroads, just like what the people in Germany faces between 1938 to 45.
Yes.
Whereas the built-up of the SS force in Germany to protect the man who decided that he wanted to control the right, the left, and the liberal and the center, because he was going after some people. Conrad, I want to make a report. Last night I was at a meeting in Portmore, and what you call Parliamentary, where they were discussing the so-called parish of Portmore and the boundaries which the parish cuts across, and how they have to go. Mr. Jackson and the members have to go to court to fight it, to back off the JLP. What was important there is that it was one man who this government want to name the parish of Portmore for, and to get one man to remain in power in that particular section of the constituency, and that is Mr. Terry Gerrymandering. So the people had their meeting. While they were there, Conrad, the police turned up in their numbers. And doors were, they stopped right in the crowd, doors open, they came out with guns, yes, and in body armor. And they came straight to the speaker, who was Mr. Fitzjackson. And one Mr. Gordon, who seems to lead the squad, asked him about permission, and Mr. Jackson told him that he had permission from Mr. Nicholson, who he spoke to up to late this evening, reminding him of the meeting, and Mr. Nicholson told him to go on. And the police came to find out, well, said if you even got from Mr. Gordon, Mr. Nicholson, Mr. Gordon said that, then the man who's doing the night shift, you haven't gotten that from.
That's nonsense.
So I was standing there, and I felt, I'm very upset, because if Mr. Nicholson is the person who's in charge of St. Andrew South, and he gave permission,
St. Catherine South, rather.
St.
Catherine South.
So to go ahead. How comes a policeman turn up to say the man who is doing the night shift didn't know? That is Mr. Nicholson to inform the person who's coming on in the night.
Absolutely. The police force don't go on recess.
Right?
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. But you see, and these are the things that make people ask question if the police are acting politically in some space. There's you heard, Fitzjackson is not a fly-by-night person. If Fitz is going to say, listen, they have a permission, and he is basically buttressing his argument as to how the permit was obtained. That's a non-argument coming from the police officer with due respect.
Right, and I say this to you, Mr. Conrad, is that he insisted that the meeting should slow down until you get confirmation. Now, here you are at the head of working at your office up there, Conrad, and you get permission to be on the radio. And somebody come after that person, down home, somebody else come and say to you, say didn't know that you was going to be on the radio. That's enough of your business to get permission from the person already. So that permission should be handed down to the person who's coming on, right?
I totally agree.
It is the third time in St. Catherine that this kind of behavior happened. You know that they arrested my boy when they thing there. We come on stage up in when Damien have his meeting.
Okay.
Where they charge my boy when they thing there, the entertainer, right? Just to be there. And another meeting, and this is the third time. No, I want to say this. Police officers, do not allow yourself to be politically used by no politician, because the police asked Mr. Leon Thomas, who in his chamber like the king in palace, and people come there, come create problem, and Mr. Leon Thomas has to go to the station, while the people who come there no go. So we can see the politics being playing out in St. Catherine, playing with the police, and I'm not going to hide it. And I am saying to the police over there, do not allow yourself, Mr. Blake, Commissioner Blake, please, sir, I respect you very, very much. And you're high up on my list. or as a decent young man who is a commissioner. Please do not allow yourself and your policemen to be used as pawn in politics, because it is so clear, my friend Conrad, that we are playing politics.
Yes.
Let me just say this.
I have to leave you, no.
Let me just say this finally, Conrad.
Yeah.
I want to say this.
I have to leave you. We have a time signal. All right, have to go. All right, let's go to the 11:30 break, Suka.
Me, Conrad, the just concluded Boys and Girls Championship. One of the things that Grand Slams, the team was looking for is large crowds. Because when you do an event like that...
Hold on there, Colin. Just a sec. The Observer and its back page here is saying, how... show me the money. And it says athletes share delight at Grand Slam track earning. And just to read just one sentence here, it says with the Kingston leg of the Grand Slam track GST now complete, 12 athletes are beaming at having claimed US $100,000, just under 16 million J each, winning their respective Grand Prix event.
And I think Jamaica Daniel Williams got 100,000 US.
Yes.
And if you come last, I think you get 10,000 US. Now, you saw me talk about, me always tell you, Conrad, the kind of money that is in the culture and the creative industry.
Indeed.
But I want to go back to Boys and Girls Champs.
Yes.
Something that we have been having for over 100 years. Which is the largest of its kind on the planet.
Yes.
We have not been making the kind of money that we ought to make from Boys and Girls Champs. Now, I just want to say to Issa that don't be afraid. The next PNP administration don't want to take over Boys and Girls Champs from you. We want to ensure that you maximize the earnings from it. So we want to create that ecosystem that whenever Boys and Girls Champs is finished, Issa would be awash with cash. Because it's the value of what we have.
So, Colin, yes, and I understand that. Just this morning, I think we carried here and NPR News, where the United States now, they are looking as to how they will pay college athletes, who are engaged, say, in basketball or sports generally, based on the kind of money that are being made. You believe that implicit in that, what you're just saying, that we should basically widen the net so that if that kind of money that you're talking about is being made out of our annual Boys and Girls Championship, they should also, or their school at the very minimum, should benefit from it?
I am not saying the students should benefit directly, because you don't want to start bring the money in to the kids from that stage. But as you rightfully said, the schools should benefit.
Yes.
And when the schools benefit now, there will be more resources to really assist our children athletes. So when they get to the
and the wider school community as well.
Exactly. So when they get to the stage of going to university or to become pro, they would have had a solid background. Because we have lost a lot of athletes coming out after champs, you hear not more about them,
Yes.
Right? So we can fix that.
Thank goodness we have seen some improvement of that over the years, because what happened, remember now, Colin, that all these athletes, they used to seek to go on the overseas scholarship. A number of them now are basically staying here, and we're seeing where that program with our with our coaches coming out of GC, Foster College and so on, we're seeing now what's happening there.
Foster, have to say thanks to Michael Manley and Cuba.
Absolutely.
For setting up that kind of foundation. But when Boys and Girls Champs finish, Conrad, at least $500 million US, anywhere between 500 million US and $1 billion US, should be in Issa bank account in a Jamaican bank. US dollars
seismic.
That's coming into Jamaica. Because that's the
Keith Wellington, principal of St. Elizabeth Technical High School, the president of Issa. Are you listening? I think I need to send a clip of this call to him, Colin.
I don't know what they are doing and how they have done with the rights of it, Conrad. But this boys and girls champ should be on a television in every country who love track and field. Germany, Italy, the UK, all those places.
United States, all over.
United States, because that's how you make money. It's TV make the money, Conrad.
Yes.
And even though the stadium was not full, the television rights would have paid the bill.
Yes.
And that's how you can have a cricket match at play with an empty stadium and the cricketers are well paid. So we have to now ensure, the Jamaican people have to now ensure that in the next election, we choose a government that understands this industry, that is a $3 trillion industry on the global market.
As a matter of fact, the president for the micro and small business, Miss Antoinette Hamilton, don't know if you were listening to her, but she actually weighed in. She weighed in a big way.
Right. So we have to ensure that whatever resources we have, we maximize the earnings from those resources, because the world is changing, Conrad. And the gifts that we normally get from America, we see USAID gone. Those gifts are gone. And our export is now, they're putting on a 10% tariff on
and so on, call it. We really have to basically dig deep in our creative juices, to really get, because we have it here, We don't have to be going cap in hand to anybody. We can be...
I spoke to Anthony Hilton.
He will be my guest tomorrow.
And he was telling us about the logistics hub. There are only 3 logistics hubs in the world. There's none in the Americas. And Jamaica have the perfect opportunity of creating the one in the Americas.
And we are pussyfooting around for the last 10 years.
Right.
9
we have
years,
that
10
we
years.
can make money from. We have the culture and the creative industry that we can make whole heap of money from. And we're not basically dealing with the thing them like how we're supposed to deal with them. And then we're balling out, we're poor, our teachers are leaving in droves because we're not paying them well. How we're going to work out with this lack of vision that we have in the country?
Colin Bell, Deputy Shadow Spokesperson and the Culture and Creative Industry. I'm going to have to leave you there for now, Colin, but certainly we'll slot you in as a guest in the not too distant future, because certainly we want to talk about these things, because these are opportunities to benefit Jamaica, irrespective of whichever party rule the roost.
And it will benefit tourism. It will benefit even the average man on the street, the peanut vendor.
Everybody
will benefit from all of this. So we have to do more of this, Conrad. And that's why I made a video on Friday that says, listen, Jamaicans, go out and support Grand Slam.
And that was very, very good of you, Colin, because you could have been insular and partisan and don't do that.
No,
thanks, Colin.
It's a good showing for Jamaica, brother. We'll talk.
Thanks a lot. All right.
Okay.
That's Colin Bell there. Shaka Anthony Bell. He is also a radio host and also operate the popular Portland Spice TV channel there, So all in all, we want the best for the Jamaica. One might support a particular political party, but certainly at the end of the day, we want Jamaica to truly, not just talk, but truly be the place to live, raise family, and do business. And we have we don't have to be looking for opportunity overseas. If we do it, is because of we really just want to do it, but it can't be just that is the only opportunity for us to build a life. Let's take the calls. Hello, welcome caller.
Hello, good morning.
Hi country, how you do, man? Thanks for holding.
I'm fine, I'm fine, thank you, and good morning to your producer and good morning to your listener.
Indeed.
And Damien Crawford in Northwest St. Catherine.
All right.
And a special good morning to Dr. Winston Dawes and the entire Dawes family, Ricky Dawes, Kevin Dawes, all of them.
All right.
These are people with integrity. And what Dr. Thompson come out and say, him just shoot the JLP in the foot.
Do you think so?
Yes. Because Dr. Dawes stand up for the rights.
Alfred, yes.
And the health of our citizens, whether you is on that side or you is on this side, or whether you is P or no P. Congratulations to Dr. Dawes, man.
Absolutely.
Don't let them get you down. Continue to fight.
We miss the best for Jamaica. Oh, sorry, maybe this person is saying we wish we miss the boat for Jamaica to be the place to live, raise family, and do business. All right. No, that's not about. Yeah. All right.
Yes. And what I wanna say this morning. You remember sometime last year?
Yes.
This trade unionist Elaine Davis White was sent to Canada to investigate the treatment of our farm workers.
Yeah, man. I remember.
And she come back with a positive report. And then the world. I don't remember the
body that look at. I remember the body. Don't remember their name just now, but they basically rubbish her finding, really.
Right. And I am here this morning to tell you, right in Tennessee, America, Pigeon Fort, Tennessee, to be exact.
Yes.
Our hotel farm workers.
Hotel worker, not hotel farm worker. Our hotel worker, because it's two different programs, yes?
Thank you for the correction.
Yeah, man.
Our hotel workers have been treated and been abused right here in Tennessee. That's a program. I think it's administered through the Ministry of Labor. So Colonel Charles, Junior Minister Charles. Here you have one to look at. Where exactly you say you're getting the information from again, country? Pigeon Fort, Tennessee. Right there.
Okay.
And the hotel workers are chink, roach, rats. Chink. Biting off one side of the hotel worker every night.
Really? In the great United States of America? In Trump land?
I'm telling you, Mr. Connor.
But we're not doing so bad because we're not chinkan and sitting there, Jamaica.
Michael Mann, they eradicate chinkan and fleas in 1970s, you know. But I never know that our workers will come in this, and the boss is not doing nothing. The boss cares nothing about the workers. Could you touch base with me, country, and share with? Can I get one of those workers to speak? One of them would be willing to speak? No.
I won't be willing to speak. All right.
The owner of the hotel, his last name is Brown. Them can check it out.
All right. All right, country. Quite a bit of information they're giving us.
Yes, sir.
No.
I'll catch you tomorrow.
Tomorrow I'll be back. All right, good. Okay. Thanks a lot, country. So, you're hearing there, our hotel workers in the United States, Tennessee to be exact there. Country gave us some other information there. If you call now, we probably can take you for a few minutes. It's actually 6 minutes, 5 minutes going up to 12 o'clock right here at News Talk 93 FM, which is truly Conrad O'Brien, the fireman. It's a Monday, and our friends over there at Fit FM is tuned in with us. They're simulcasting, of course, Caribbean Vibe Radio and the Wayne Hall Network. Also, the Make We Talk YouTube channel is also in this. You can also, I'm seeing a lot of expression coming through, a lot of top-up taking place right here, and the Conrad OB TikTok channel as well. So let's see if we can take this one. It's the caller, which will be very limited time, Madam Producer. All right. Okay, caller. Hello, caller.
Colonel, where are you going with it?
Hey, move like a lightning from Africa. Talk to me. Tell me what I'm going.
All right, I know. You remember the promise to the Rasta benevolent society people them
Yes.
towards Pinnacle and some land and some housing and thing. How far that reach?
All right, I think there was some settlement that took place, but I don't want to talk out of turn. I like to speak when I have full information. So we'll try and see if we can get some update from Minister Grange and or anybody connected to the society. But it's a very timely question you're asking, Africa.
I get to understand enough the things that not reach to the people them yet, you know.
Nothing?
Conrad.
Uh-huh.
So more you get some information on this thing for me, please.
All right, we will. I will.
I beg you.
All right, no problem. We follow through.
Mr. Knight a elder, you know. Mr. Knight a elder and them people are big responsible family. So if them could have keep them out of them cast.
Same so.
It would have good here.
Yeah, man.
People have to join the party. People have to come into politics.
But the fact of the matter is that, Africa, when you have, and this is how some of us in our own family, we treat our elderly relatives in such a poor way. We throw them into the back room and say, listen, this one belong. And have them there urinating on themselves and all sort of things. People are there, they want to go, they want to enjoy themselves. The fact of the matter that you get old, it don't mean that you're dead.
Remember, you know, Mr. Knight,
I'm not so young myself.
Mr. Knight, them in a certain position in life, you know. So one to the people when you're in a position, one to them old people.
Then you can you can imagine that.
I tell you, you know, I tell Mr. Knight this morning, sir. To go around and visit all old people in the constituency.
Every single one.
What we saw what Conrad? Yeah, go around and visit all old people, Mr. Knight. I want to finish let me know here.
You're giving good sorry, Africa, in a minute, you're in the constituency. What you think she has a real chance?
We are talking about real chance, Conrad. We're talking about real chance. you know Miss Carlo?
Yes.
She win up here already.
Yes, I know.
Yes, the only woman that come up here and win.
Oh, good. All right, let's pick it up tomorrow, Africa. Let's pick it up tomorrow.
Yeah, me now keep your finger crossed here.
All right, cool. Okay, Africa. That's my friend Africa from up Grand Spend there. So all that's left for me to do now is to say thanks to my guest, Fitz MP.